So I just thought I'd record some observations from everything that happened with the Lucy Letby disclosure yesterday, as I'm walking around in the sunshine and thinking about how lucky I am having the freedom to be able to walk around outside as I want without any restrictions. When I first listened to the press release news conference with Dr. Sue Lee and Mark MacDonald, I was really excited and relieved that finally some healthcare professionals, under their own volition, had realised the injustice of it all and set about to just look at the evidence properly and clinically. And they said at the beginning that if they found things that would prove her guilt, they would equally raise those, as well as if they found anything that potentially led to a miscarriage. And it was really enlightening to hear him give a complete clinical review of the evidence and the sad facts that these babies were incredibly poorly, most of them, and were let down really. So the initial elation I got from it, from listening to it and thinking, finally this lady that's in prison may actually get a chance at getting things heard properly, and the parents may finally get to the bottom of it, although it's going to be incredibly painful for them having to reopen these wounds that they thought had been semi-closed by her being convicted. Then today I woke up and I'm just really angry, and I can't really work out why. Well, I can work out why. I think it's possibly because of my own minimalistic kind of FTP events that happened in comparison, but it kind of triggers really the injustice of it all, and the fact that as nurses and midwives we've got no hope really when faced with such serious allegations. We've got no resources to get the information together, get the evidence together. We've certainly got no money when we've been out of work, and most of us, not earning particularly high salaries to then afford legals who, God love them, are quite rightly expensive for their skill. So we're then faced with having to just have representation that we're dealt with really. And that's no disrespect to the team that she had before. They did the best that they could with the resources that they had, and certainly the fact that we've got 12, I think it is, experts who've come together, and they're not being funded, unlike the medical expert that was used in the prosecution that was funded quite considerably and reimbursed. These experts have come forward and done it in their own time, not expected any reimbursement whatsoever, and their only motivation is to get to the bottom of what's happened with these babies. So just thinking about my own anger with it all really, and I think ultimately it's for those babies. It's the anger that their parents went into hospital hoping, in terrible circumstances, that they'd be in a safe place. And yes, these babies were very poorly, some of them were very premature and had lots of comorbidities, but even still there are certain aspects that Dr. Lee and his team have raised that show that the care wasn't optimal in any way, and actually was suboptimal in some instances, which makes me really sad. It makes me really sad that potentially this can happen not once, not twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many times it happened. I think there were 12 or 17 babies, I think. And it also makes me wonder, how many other cases were there? What else went on? We're hearing almost daily about failures in maternity services and failures in hospital services, and I'm just wondering, it's just the tip of the iceberg really, and I'm not sure what the answer is. Everybody's trying to do their best. The doctors were trying to do their best, but I think they as well were probably in circumstances that were getting a little bit out of their control. So I'm trying to be kind, I'm trying to think of it from everybody's angle, but for me personally, I just think, Christ, what if that had been me? What if I was in prison knowing that I hadn't done what I was accused of, and knowing there was no chance of ever coming out and seeing the outside world again? I'm not sure I would have survived. So let's hope that we get to the bottom of everything that's gone on, and that finally, hopefully, some lessons are actually going to be learnt. We have all these serious case reviews, we have all these recommendations, things that should be put in place, and again and again and again we hear failures. So let's try and look at a different way of approaching this. Let's look at not blaming, not trying to identify one person, but trying to actually look at what's gone wrong in the whole system and what we collectively can do to improve it. Thanks for listening.